Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. As I said in my previous video, I've been off for a few days just dealing with some personal stuff, and I got back to like a load of messages, and one of them, in fact a few of them actually, were asking me about this business with David Adeleye and Fabio Wardley. And I did see the video where Wardley was being interviewed and suddenly someone appeared, which it was, I think it was Adeleye, or it was a mate of his or one of his crew or whatever, I don't know, and punches are exchanged, a shove here, a shove there, and then suddenly there was a big melee, you know, because everyone jumps in and wants to be a tough guy, and the two sides are sort of wondering, are you on my side? Am I hitting you or am I hitting... Oh no, we're on the same side. You know, it was that sort of bullshit thing. But so what do I think of it? A few people have asked. Well, there isn't much to say, is there? It was a silly case of handbags at dawn, that sort of got out of hand a little bit. I know that Wardley ended up with a cut. It was really just a nick on the side of the face, just by the side of the eye. I don't think it's going to sort of put in jeopardy a fight with Adeleye. This was, by the way, you probably know all this already, but this was on the undercard. That it was the press conference for the Fury and Ngannou fight of sorts, and this was at the press conference, and the Wardley Adeleye fight is on the undercard. Well, I suppose it makes it a bit more appealing because there's obviously some bad blood, but it was interesting because Wardley was getting on fine. I think it was Radio Raheem was interviewing him for whatever that channel is, and then I watched another video of Adeleye being interviewed, and he only said a few sentences, but he was the one that looked really pent up and really sort of hostile, and you saw him looking across at someone who he felt was staring him out and saying, "Are you all right? Well, you know, what do you want? Stop! Don't look at me! Don't look at me!" And then he went for it, and so did his little mates. Well, after this incident, Adeleye was interviewed and said the first thing out of his mouth was, I was a bit paranoid. Now, I don't know whether it was a sort of Freudian slip and he should have perhaps used a different word, but yeah, it did seem like he was a bit paranoid looking at those two, the sort of respective videos of them being interviewed. Wardley was just being interviewed by Radio Raheem, whereas Adeleye, from the word go, I can't remember who was interviewing him, but he only got a few sentences into his interview and he was giving sort of monosyllabic answers, and he did look kind of like he was on one, on something anyway. Only kidding. But yeah, he weren't happy, and I think it was, he seemed to be the one that instigated it, whether he was just he was reading something in that wasn't there, whether he was just wanting to be a tough guy and try and put it on Wardley. I don't think he'll succeed in that respect. Wardley strikes me as someone who is a bit hot-headed, but you have to sort of wind him up to get a reaction, you know, and he was wound up. He did lose his temper. I mean, the look on his face after he'd been shoved over and someone had punched him. I don't think it was Adeleye. I think it was one of his crew giving him a little tap. Might have put him over. I don't know whether the punch put him over or whether it was a shove. It was all just kicking off. It's all a load of fanny, really. But you know what I mean. It beefs up the idea that there's a rivalry, and therefore when they get in the ring, all eyes will be on them, and all this sort of crap. And Frank Warren was interviewed afterwards, and he said, "Oh, I don't approve of it, you know. And look, something could have happened, you know. I guess he's talking about the cut. It could have been worse. It could have postponed the fight. Yeah, okay, point taken. That's a valid point. But at the same time, the fight hasn't been postponed, and now Warren has got all this free publicity for it. So yeah, there is a thin line between playing silly buggers and actually jeopardising a fight and actually putting someone's health at serious risk. I don't think that was ever going to happen, really. I mean, it just looked like a big shoving match between a load of geezers who just wanted to prove that they were tough guys or something. But maybe Adeleye wants to try and put it on Wardley, or maybe secretly he doesn't like what he sees in Wardley. Like, he thinks, this guy's a threat. I'm going to have to get every kind of possible advantage that I can. I haven't been that impressed with Adeleye in the boxing ring. I don't know what he's like on the street or whatever. I have no interest in that. But in a boxing ring, I can't say I've been overly impressed with Wardley. I think he looks a little bit, there might be a little bit of a question mark over his chin. But when the engine gets running with Wardley, he takes off, he goes for it. Whereas Adeleye seems to sort of flatter to deceive. He seems to be someone who promises more than he delivers, really. And I'm just wondering if Adeleye has seen something that unnerves him, so he feels the need, he has to do that sort of roadman routine. The question is, of course, will Wardley bite? Or will he sort of, oh, he's obviously very angry, you know, he got cut, he's only a nick, but he's still cut. He got shoved around, he got chinned, you know, he got battered, not battered, but hit. He's not going to be happy, he's going to be angry. The question is he going to channel that anger, that energy correctly? Is he going to sort of plot and plan for fight night and then let it all hang out in a very controlled manner? Is he going to ask questions of Adeleye in that ring when he hasn't got his crew around him? When no one's interviewing anyone, when it's just him and the other guy looking at each other, and now they're going to swap punches? I don't know. I mean, I think if he can do that, if Fabio Wardley can control his emotions, and this is what it's all about. It's such a huge part of boxing, controlling your emotions, a huge part of it. And if he can stay mentally focused and be cold-blooded, you know, the old, what Evander Holyfield used to call ice water in your veins. If he can do that, I think Adeleye could be in some trouble here. But we'll see. We'll see. I suppose it does beef it all up, doesn't it? It adds a bit of spice to the cooking pot, which I suppose is what we want. But all right, they've done it now, so don't jeopardise the fight any further. I'm kind of, I hate agreeing with Frank Warren, but I'm kind of with Warren on that one. Don't jeopardise anything any further. And to be honest with you, as indifferent as I am to the Fury and Ngannou thing, which I have absolutely no interest in that whatsoever. I'm not even stream team on this one. I might watch it if they show a clip or two on YouTube. I might watch it afterwards, but that's as much as you get into my time. Maybe I'll watch this Adeleye Wardley fight, you know, just as because it seems to be a grudge match, and grudge matches do sell, and they are a lot of fun. But don't be too surprised if win, lose or draw, they're both shaking hands afterwards. That's normally what happens. Well, maybe not. You know. Anyway, what did you think of all this nonsense? It happened a day or two ago, didn't it? So give me your opinions. I know a few of you asked about it, so that's my 2 cents for what it's worth. And yeah, leave your comments below. I'll answer them, of course. I'll read them. I'm catching up with all your comments because I've been out of action for a few days. Unforeseen circumstances. Won't bore you with the details. Not very pleasant, but it's got to be done. And yeah, I'll answer as many of your comments as I possibly can. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like button as well. I keep saying this, but they count the likes. I don't know why, but anyway, whatever the hell it is. Do your thing. You know the drill. I'll catch you later, and bye for now.